All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. I said my next stream was going to be about a different topic, but I found out it's Richard Quinn's birthday, and of course, he's possibly the most dedicated Gematria Truth Seeker in the whole world, and it is his birthday today, and I think he turned 25. Is that right? 25?
Yeah, 26. You were close.
There you go. That was a great year for me. It's good to be young. Anyhow.
Actually it's 44, Zach.
Oh, man, number.
Yeah, that's not good, I know.
Well, all things good and bad. I mean, there's good. The word hope has 44. So
there you go. There you go.
Okay, but it's Richard Quinn's 44th birthday. I thought it was 25. Anyhow, he does love Gematria, and it is his passion, and he wants to go through for his birthday. And he's another guy, just like me, on his birthday, he wants to get the Gematria knowledge out there. I'm mostly just going to let him run with it. I'll be here in the background listening. And if I need to chime in and help him out with something, I doubt I will, but if I need to, we'll do that. I will do the slides as you want different things up on the screen. But you guys, Richard is active in the Gematria community on his Facebook page. That's where most of his social media posts are. He does have a YouTube channel with the same name. And again, apparently 44 years old today. And I don't know, are we doing the top 44 Gematria decodes or what?
Yeah, that'd just be the tip of the iceberg, though, sadly.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I'll let Rich run with it from here. It is his birthday. This is his show. I'm just in the background.
And, well, I thank you for that, Zach. But I'd look at it like it's our show, and I don't have everything memorized. I have 10, 12, 13 things that I show new people. Like if I'm in an Uber or at a gas station or a store at work. And I just figure there's some things you'll remember more and there's some things I'll remember more. But the purpose of this video was I've been seeing you trying to find people to debate you, and nobody calls in ever. And I know they're all watching out there, and I want them to, if they want to come on in here and debate us, I mean, come on and debate us, because there's no way you can prove all this stuff wrong. So,
okay. And for the record, if anybody comes in to debate, I'm just going to sit in the background. And I know Richard can win the debate. So
yeah, no, I can't lose. I mean, facts are facts and they're verifiable. So, the purpose of all this, guys, a lot of people don't understand the Gematria. I'm talking about new people. They just can't seem to grasp it. I talk to people all the time, and some people are pretty intelligent people, and they always say the same things. Well, if you look hard enough, you can fit the numbers in there, or it's a coincidence, and I just want to smack them, man. It's just like people just don't want to get it. And just off the top of my head, I'll start with the California fires. That was around the time I think I started finding your work and understanding it more. And the main thing to know here, guys, is ritualistic people use numbers and dates on the calendar to hide their deception. It's not really that far-fetched, What are the odds? And I find myself saying that a lot. That's a good key term to say to people. What are the odds when you're showing them this stuff? Gets them to think about it a little more. Reportedly, you can go on Google, and the California fires started on 11/8. That looks like the number 118. So when you look further into Zach's work, he shows how Los Angeles was established on September 4th, the day leaving 118 days left in the year. Then when you look a little further, you notice that Los Angeles is on the 118th meridian. So then you have a major fire on 11/8. So to the people who don't believe in the Gematria part of it, type in Los Angeles, California, and then type in Paradise, California, which Paradise was the town that burned down right near LA. They both equal 118. So then we have this little riddle or ritual, whatever you want to call it, for nearly a year. And then what movie does John Cena play in about fires? It's called Playing with Fire, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it comes out on 11/8 of the next year. So, I mean, that's obvious symbolism. And then one more little thing I like to show people: when the Dodgers won the World Series in 1988, October 20th 1988. So 10 plus 20 plus 88. That's 118-day numerology. And if you get into Zach's book, I'm sure there's a million more examples of 118 with LA. And it just goes to show that it's all ritualism with numbers. So, that's an easy one to show people. The fires started on 11/8 on the 118th meridian, and LA was established on the day leaving 118 days left in the year. To anybody with half a brain, you can put that together and see there's something not right. So that's my little presentation on the California fires. Do you have anything to add to that, Zach?
Yeah, they reported they were the deadliest wildfires in California history, and as we've talked about for a long time, in Jewish gematria, death and homicide both equal 118.
Yeah, it's a very negative number, and then you got fires and destruction. So yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
We could skip around. I got the California fires down. Now people who are, regulars have heard these all a million times. Just know that this video's purpose is for new people and for you to show people. So, when next time your uncle says, nah, sports aren't rigged, copy and paste this video and send it to him, or, whatever. Let's go to the easiest Super Bowl ever. That when Marshawn Lynch didn't run the ball. Okay, I'll be short and sweet because we've all heard it a million times. It was 2nd and 1. You have the baddest running back in the league. He only has to run 1 yard to win the Super Bowl. Not just the game, but the Super Bowl. You're never going to pass the ball. Everybody knows you would run it 3 times, and they'd probably 99% get the touchdown. So on 2nd and 1, which looks like the number 21, Marshawn Lynch, Russell, I wanted to say Russell Westbrook. Russell Wilson drops back for his 21st pass attempt. It's intercepted by Malcolm Butler, number 21. He fell to the ground, which secured the game for the Patriots with 21 seconds rolling off the clock. And the Patriots won the Super Bowl. Brady got his 21st playoff win. And all that happened on February 1st or 2/1. I've taught a million people that sports are rigged with that simple little ritual there. And I always move right to Super Bowl 51 right after, because both of those happen to show the date synced with Brady's amount of playoff wins. So everybody knows the 25-point comeback on 2/5. It was the 97th NFL season, which happens to be the 25th prime number. They changed the touchback from the 20 to the 25. And for people who can't figure it out, that's in tribute to Brady getting his 25th playoff win. And Brady didn't just get his 25th playoff win. The AFC got their 25th ever Super Bowl. So when you use a little critical thinking skills, the changing of the touchback was all in tribute to the AFC and Brady getting their 25th. And then it happened to be a 25-point comeback on 2/5. So again, you see that both Super Bowl 49 and 51, and Brady wasn't in 50, so they skipped a year there. You know what I mean? So the very next Super Bowl he's in, all of a sudden the date is synced to the amount of his playoff wins. Now, someone smart like me can understand why they haven't done that since. It's because Zach wasn't as censored back then, and we literally exposed them to thousands and thousands of people. So now they've changed up how they do things, and I haven't seen the date be synced to it since. Have you, Zach?
Not in a Super Bowl, but I mean, they still do it in regular season games and whatnot.
True.
Again, about the 25 thing too. This is, in the time Pope Francis has been the Pope, this is the only Super Bowl that he blessed. And it was Super Bowl 51 on his 51st day of his age. Rome has the Gematria 51. But the 25-point comeback, Falcons equals 25 in Gematria. So does Pope, and so does Trump. Trump had just become president. And again, I made a big point about this. The day before Trump was inaugurated, he was on TV for about 20 minutes talking about, his thoughts about becoming the president of the United States. And he literally spent more than half of the 20 minutes talking about how Bill Belichick was the greatest coach of all time, Tom Brady was the greatest quarterback of all time, how big of a Patriots fan he was. I was just like, don't people see what a nation of, like, I mean, this nation's just such a joke. You're about to be the president of the United States, and you're spending over half your time talking about the rigged football game. And again, Trump 25, Pope 25, Falcons 25. Don't forget, Trump was at the Vatican by the numbers right after he was in Jerusalem for Jerusalem Day. But again, then you end up having this massive 25 ritual in the game. So,
yeah, and that's why I'd want you here too, Zach, because you just filled that in nicely. And that's stuff that I've heard you say, but I don't quite have in my memory bank. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
How much do you remember about Super Bowl 53? I got I know like the main pieces, but I don't have like a story typed out for it. Well, I have it typed out, but it's not,
I know there's a person who won over $350,000 off parlaying the World Series and Super Bowl, dead on how we had it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll let you go, and then I'll just fill in whatever. Again, hey, this is your show.
True. Super Bowl 53. There was the Rams and Patriots, and I do remember Zach predicting it would be Rams versus Patriots. And anybody knows if you get both teams right prior to the season, I mean, you're looking at what, a minimum of 80-1 on your money, if not more. And I wish that I'd have been tuned in. I mean, I listened to your work at the time, but that's the one I regret not. Plus, I don't think betting was legal in my state yet, so it would have been awkward to do it. But it was Super Bowl 53, and Los Angeles equals 53. The things I remember is Tom Brady was 41 years old. Super Bowl equals 41. I know they made a 41-yard field goal, and it was a low-scoring game, so points were precious. And the Rams missed a 53-yarder to put them out of reach of the game. And number 26, I forget that guy's name. It'll come to me in a second. What's
Michel.
that?
Sony
Yeah,
Michel.
Sony Michel wore number 26, and he got the only touchdown in the game came in the 53rd minute of Super Bowl 53. Imagine the odds of that when you have two high-scoring teams like the Rams and Patriots that year. And not just Sony Michel, but half the running backs in the league were wearing the number 26 for no good reason. And now think about it. We just came off of exposing how the AFC got their 25th, in Super Bowl 51. That was just a couple of years prior to Super Bowl 53. And it just seemed funny. It seemed like the AFC was going to get their 26th, and half the running backs in the league were wearing number 26. And in the fourth quarter, I remember the Patriots ran two 26-yard plays. I mean, the odds of just having one 26-yard play, but let alone two in the same quarter to pretty much ice the game, I mean, that's pretty ridiculous too. And there's plenty more to it. I remember that year there was a million riddles that came out. Your live stream was about 3-4 hours long. And but it was just by the numbers. The AFC got their 26th as predicted. And I just don't know how people can hear this and not catch on,
Sure. What I'd add is the World Series that year prior to the Super Bowl was also Boston and LA.
Yep.
And what we mapped out is this was the 99th NFL season, concluding with Super Bowl 53. And we saw that if Boston won the World Series over LA 4-1, remember LA has that gematria of 41, like Kobe Bryant, who died in LA at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass. But we saw that if Boston won the World Series 4-1 over LA, we already had the hunch before that World Series came around that it would be Boston and LA in the Super Bowl. We said, look at it. If they win 4-1, Game 5 is 99 days from the Super Bowl, and it's the 99th NFL season, and New England equals 99. We said that'd make a lot of sense. And then Chris Sale's the big pitcher star for Boston, and I thought I can't remember if I said he would win and start the game and get the win or close out the game. It ended up being the opposite of what I said, but he ended up either being the winning pitcher or the closing pitcher. It was one of the two, but it was number 41 for Boston. I knew he'd be a part of the ritual. And again, Super Bowl equals 41 in Gematria, as does LA. You can see that the final field goal was a 41-yarder. It was Super Bowl 53. There's only 3 teams in the NFL that have a 53 connection. Patriots equals 53, Los Angeles equals 53, Carolina equals 53, and it wasn't going to be the Panthers' year that year. So we had Boston and LA for the Super Bowl and the World Series synced up, as they so often do. They'll sync the leagues together because they're all rigged and scripted. And, you know,
the words New England equal 53 too. Am I correct?
It's Patriots that's 53.
Oh, not New. Okay, I know Patriots is. I just didn't know if New England by itself was or not.
Yeah, New England's 37, the 12th prime, like Brady number 12. Buccaneers is also 37, so he's played for 2 37 teams. But yeah, and again, LA has the gematria 13 and 41. You get 13 points scored for the Patriots, a total of 16 points. 53 is the 16th prime number. Brady tied Jordan with his 6th Super Bowl. If you spell out 6 as a word, it has a gematria 16. And the nickname GOAT also equals 16. They started officially calling him the GOAT when he tied Jordan with 6.
And his opponent, Jared Goff, wore the number 16 as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's always, it's always like this, you know. I mean, it's just, I don't know. One that I like, Zach, is when you predicted the Mets to go to the World Series in the 111th World Series, and New York equals 111. And I heard you talking about that maybe a week or two ago, just randomly. One point I wanted to add to that is I believe Game 7 concluded on November 1st as well.
It did. And again, I still remember it like it was yesterday. They pulled Harvey on his 111th pitch. He was with the Mets then. They've used Harvey in a number of World Series rituals in recent times. Again, he was the first pitcher to pitch in Houston after the flooding of Harvey, 52 days before the World Series, when flood equals 52 like hurricane. But they pulled him on his 111th pitch. And the thing was, his last pitch was to the batter, who, when the batter approached the plate, they showed, I believe it was Eric Hosmer, if I'm not mistaken, they showed that he had a 111 batting average for the World Series. And again, he's playing for the Royals. The Queen was born on the 111th day of the year. That's who won it.
Royals.
Yeah, the Royals beat New York, the 111 city, like September 11th happened on the day, leaving 111 days left in the year. But Hosmer comes up, and they put up the stat, 111 batting average. And then on Harvey's 111th pitch, he drives an RBI single in the gap to tie up the game. And then next batter knocks in the winning run. And that's the World Series on November 1st. Next year, you have the 112th World Series ending in Game 7 on November 2nd, 1-1-2, which is a World Series that we called in spring training again, as we've done so many times. And
the Cubs, right? The Cubs?
Yeah, the Cubs was the easiest call ever. So
yeah, well, we might as well segue right into that one then. So that you know, we go from the 111th to the 112th. Let's talk about the 108-year drought, you know, and why it was a 108-year drought. And I've blown many people's minds with this. Isn't it funny how the Sears Tower is 108 stories tall, and the Cubs happen to have a 108-year drought? And when you look at how many stitches are on a baseball, there's 108
double stitches.
And the logo, I showed this.
Hold on. There's 108 double stitches. There's 216 stitches.
I was getting to that. I was getting to that, Zach. I promise. I know the Cleveland area code, buddy. But 108 double stitches. That's 216. And they happen to play Cleveland, who just happens to have the 216 area code. Now, a point I made to Zach, I don't know if he remembers, is whenever they're advertising the World Series, you know, a few weeks in advance, nobody knows who's going to be in the World Series. And they show the logo, like on TV or if you see it on the internet. And every logo is different every year. And they had, on that year's World Series advertisement, they had the baseball stitches bordering the World Series logo. And when you look back on something like that, you can easily see why it was the World Series or the baseball stitches on there, because it was going to be the Cubs' year. So you got a 108-year drought, 108 stories on the Sears Tower. That's the symbolism of the city, obviously. You got 108 double stitches on a baseball. And then you got like a famous Chicago fire on October 8th. Looks like 108. So obviously this is symbolic of Chicago, just like the 118 is symbolic of LA, you know?
Right. And in Gematria, Major League equals 108, and they played Cleveland. The Hollywood movie series Major League is about the Indians. And again, that year, so in spring training, I picked the Cubs to beat Houston. Houston has a lot of 112 rituals. That's what I picked in spring training. Houston got eliminated from the playoff contention about mid-September. I said, okay, the only other team that makes sense for them to play, the playoffs weren't even set yet. I said, it's going to be Cubs over the Indians in Game 7 on November 2nd. And again, I mean, you get these things right on the date before the postseason set. It is big old money. So again, I had one of the two teams right in spring training. And you notice right after that, the next year, we didn't miss with Houston and LA the next year in the 113th World Series. But I wasn't far off the mark on Houston. They've gone on a run ever since then. So
they have. They're like a dynasty, as you call it. Now the number 216 is associated. Number 21, the 216 area code in Cleveland is kind of associated with satanic, isn't it? 6 times 6 times 6.
Yeah, they just did that in the NBA the other day. They just had a big 666 216 ritual. So
man, it's, you know, of course the Cubs win in Cleveland as well, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I'll never forget about you predicting Astros and Dodgers because water puts out fire with the floods in Houston. I mean, that one's just self-explanatory right there. I mean, that's where I go, man. I tell people, well, if you don't believe this work, maybe how about maybe trying to believe a guy who predicted the Vegas massacre, who predicted Astros versus Dodgers, who predicted Panthers versus Broncos. You know, I mean, that stuff's an eye opener to me, and I'm listening to that person. I mean, that's just me, but most people, sadly, you know, just don't do that. But who would ever pick the Carolina Panthers? You know, I could see maybe Peyton Manning and the Broncos.
Well, thought it was a joke the year I picked the Broncos. They're like, Peyton Manning can't even throw the ball this year. I said, I know, it doesn't matter. It's a rigged league.
Yeah.
My dad thought I was out of my mind back then. But the year that Manning won, my dad started to turn, and now he's fully on board. He doesn't argue with me anymore. But back then he was like, Zach, I remember in the AFC Championship game, I was like, there's no way that Manning's beating Brady. I said, just watch.
Yeah. Yeah, he was hurt, and the Patriots were on fire. I remember that game, man. I just didn't see your videos where you predicted it, but I looked back on it all. You know what I mean? So I could probably be a millionaire right now if I would have been on time. But
that's the first thing is that the channel's been deleted a million times. And then all the trolls that hang around and troll all the time who've been here the whole time who know, they're like, he deleted his own channel so he can say that he called those things. And it's just like, God, these people are goons.
They're probably federal. They're probably all federal agents, man.
I wouldn't be surprised. Or they work
Facebook. I sometimes I'll make my comments on public posts, and like, you know, the comment above me has 500 likes, the comment below me has 500 likes, and then mine has one comment and no likes. And it's always the accounts always look like troll accounts, you know, where it's some guy and there's his family in his picture and like life just looks so great. You know what I mean? And he'll sit there and literally like insult me and like try to embarrass me. But what I think it really is I think those are the shadow banners. Like if that account likes my comment, nobody else will see it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they have all sorts of gimmicks, these big tech platforms, and they I mean, there's a reason that YouTube it's like, why do they even have that feature of a thumbs down, but then it doesn't show up for anyone? I mean, it's too bad it didn't, and it's too bad it wasn't legit. The troll comments probably have a million thumbs down, but instead it's just the opposite. They take away the thumbs up from the good comments. And then, because I'll like somebody's comment and I'll notice it doesn't even like increase, but now it's highlighted. So I'm like, oh, so it doesn't really, it didn't increase that I like their comment. But then the troll comments always have the most likes. It's just so gimmicky. It's so obvious how it works.
Yep. So. One thing that triggered me to want to do this show, Zach, is hearing just 6 too many people this week, you know, say, "Oh, I have COVID." When someone says, "Oh, I won't be at work today because I have COVID,"
Right.
it makes me want to beat my head on the wall.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
virus. No, nobody's ever heard of the cold or the flu anymore. Everything's COVID. I
yep.
got annoyed the other day. I was trying to look up what was going on with my foot, and I was like, it's probably again. Hey, if you guys ever have your sewer back up and you're in the shower and shit starts coming out, make sure you wash off your feet real good. Because I mean, I rinsed my feet, but I probably should have washed them better. I was trying to tend to the emergency, and anyway, obviously, I got some kind of fungal thing going on my foot. But I was trying to look up exactly what it is and how to treat it. And all that was coming up on the Google search was COVID toes. And I was like, what the fuck, man? COVID toes? Like, is this even a real thing? I mean, what a load of shit. Who has COVID toes? Anyway, all I needed was some Lotrimin for athlete's foot. And it seems to be solving the problem. Sorry, guys. This might be too much information, but I'm treating my feet right now.
No, you got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just but COVID. I mean, it's just annoying. Like you're searching for what's wrong with your foot, and then Google's now engineered so the first thing that comes up is COVID toes. I mean, give me a break, man.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah, but yeah, that
But
is.
I want people to know that when you say I have COVID, what you're doing is actually helping give them the legitimacy they all desperately need. I was sick a few weeks ago and missed about a week, and not 1 second did it come across my mind that I have COVID. I told people I was sick, and that's what everybody should do. I'm confused. I'm not the smartest guy in the world out there, but I don't know if COVID is really just the flu and they renamed it, or if like they've actually put the COVID here and it is something different, or what, or maybe they put the flu here too. I mean, for all we know, all those times I was sick as a little kid, maybe they were putting it in the water in the air, and I don't know, because I mean, if it's a long ongoing agenda, what's your thoughts on that, Zach?
Well, again, I always tell the story. The only time I ever got the flu was in it was 2007, and I was working at the group home, and they were giving free flu shots, and I didn't want one because I've never gotten a flu shot before. And one of the doctors that worked there said, "Oh, Zach, get the flu shot. You never worked in a place like this. It's free here. It's covered, and you'll want it because people are sick here all the time at the group home." Well, I got the flu shot, and what do you know? Just days later, I was super sick with the first time ever in my life getting the flu. And I said, well, that's it for me and the flu shot. First, I mean, this is no coincidence. You never had the flu before, you get a flu shot, and then all of a sudden you got the flu. I mean, so I was one and done.
Yeah, and I think we were always told that you get the flu with the shot so that it makes your body fight it or something like that,
Yeah, that's right. They do. They put a little bit in so that your immune system can recognize it. Supposedly that's how it works. And then so if you get it in your body, your immune system's primed up for it and takes care of it. And I mean, there could be an element of truth to that, but it's also, look, I've never gotten the flu. Now I got a flu shot, and now I'm really sick. So this doesn't work for me. I'm not doing this again.
That's amazing that you've only had the flu once. I mean, I've been sick very little in my life before the kidney failure, to be honest, but I could still think of maybe six times.
That was back then. So again, I don't want to validate the COVID thing, but before COVID was in the news, before it was even in the news in America, in November and December, well, it was starting to be in the news about China, but before they said it was in the U.S. Again, remember, I live up in Seattle where the first case was supposedly found. A lot of them are getting really, really sick. And then May was working in a pharmacy as an intern. She ended up getting really sick. And then I was taking care of her. And then I ended up getting the sickest I'd ever been. So that was probably flu. But they weren't even saying COVID was in the U.S. yet. And to me, it's like, well, just like you're saying, do they unleash like nasty strains sometimes to make more money at the pharmacy counter? I mean, it seems like that's what they did. And call it COVID, call it flu, call it whatever you want. I mean, that was the sickest I ever was. And that was at the very, very end of 2019 and the start of 2020. And, but yeah, I mean, those are the two times that I've been the sickest in my life. So
I've listened to the Matrix videos, and he talks about smelling certain odors, like if he gets in the shower or in the air in New York. And that makes sense that in a highly populated place like that maybe they unleash things in the air way more than say.
Prince, his last interview with Tavis Smiley, that's what he talked about. He said, because he was talking about chemtrails on his last interview with Tavis Smiley. It's like, and his theory was that some days they're unleashing stuff that God knows what it does to you. And then he said sometimes he's pretty sure that they're putting some chemical that like makes everybody angrier than they would otherwise be. But yeah, if you guys have never seen that, look up Prince's last interview on Tavis Smiley. He was talking about chemtrails and his theories on what they were really doing with the spray up there. I mean, I don't know that any of it's true, but it was an interesting conversation. So
yeah, I believe when those celebrities make those interviews, that's them showing us a little bit. You know what I mean? Like the predictive programming, or how they must show us what they're going to do before they do it. There's not a single celebrity that I believe is on our side. I just can't buy that, including Prince.
yeah.
Well, I look at you. You predicted his death, and I strongly believe that he faked his death just like the rest of them. I won't come off that ever, and that's not taken from your work at all. And if to anybody out there that doesn't know, it's short and sweet. Zach predicted that Prince would die on April 21st, and that got him pretty famous on YouTube. And when you look at his song title, I will die for you. I will die for
I would die for you. I would die for you.
Sorry, I'm not real good at that stuff. I would die for you. That's saying I would die for, and you is the 21st letter.
Because he spelled the number 4 in the letter U and used the 21st letter. And he was like, nobody was doing that in 1983 when he recorded that song. The album came out in 84, Purple Rain. Yep. Again, the clue that Prince was going to die that year was that Vanity, his girlfriend from Purple Rain, died the day of the 58th Grammys. And Purple Rain equals 58, like Secret Society and Freemasonry. And then from her death to his, it's all synced together. And then again, she's from Niagara Falls, and they lit up Niagara Falls purple the day Prince died. So
it's all predictive programming, man. And you know what? When you look at it, like people like Prince.
Hold on, I want to ask you a question though. Why even make the claim? Like, I don't know if he died or not. I mean, he could have faked his death. I don't know. But why make the claim? Like, you didn't say necessarily he didn't die. You just said you think he didn't die. But some people make the claim that they know that these people aren't really dying. It's like, how do you know? I mean,
well, that's a fair question. And that's the same as us saying that they got murdered. We're making the claim they got murdered as well. But see, the difference is it's by the numbers. So the game's rigged. The players are in on the rig. Politics are rigged. We know most politicians are in on the rig. So to answer your question, it's just my opinion. I'm not making strong claims because it's 50-50. But if they're all in on it all, then I think the deaths are just as rigged. And I've said it before, it's because it's the time of the pandemic, and then we got World War III on the horizon. So all these celebrities who are given these, millions and millions of dollars, and they have these great lives, they're not going to be here when the shit hits the fan on us. That's why I hold that opinion that they're all faked. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Brad Pitt's when we get nuked, Brad Pitt's not going to take that nuke. Donald Trump's not going to be there. Tom Brady's not going to be there. But the game's rigged. The politics are rigged. The players are in on that rig. So I don't think their employer's just murdering them. I just think they're slowly, if you want to get down to it, in the book of Revelation, it says 144,000, like Jesuit orders 144. The Jesuit, or 144,000 people will be saved, it says. In my opinion, if these are fake deaths, they're counting up that 144,000 right now. Does that make sense? It's just speculation on my part.
It's possible. I mean, it's an interesting theory.
That's been my theory. That's kind of what I put together here, bro. Because let's say I'm Tom Brady. I know the game's rigged. I'm getting paid millions and millions of dollars. I'm in on the rig. Now my employer's going to murder me by the numbers. To me, that doesn't make sense as much as that I faked my death. And what would be their reason for faking their death? Well, look around where we are. We got 9/11, coronavirus. We got fake mass shootings happening. We got our rights taken away. We got the World War III on the horizon. So fake deaths absolutely make perfect sense to me. And the murder by numbers poster even kind of, tells us that in a little bit,
Sure. I'd encourage everybody to listen, since we're talking about this, I'd encourage everybody to listen to the David Bowie song Rock and Roll Suicide, because, again, he talks about, making these big choices at too young of an age. Sometimes again, David Bowie went out by the numbers, but yeah,
I want you.
there's a lot of possible explanations for what could be going on. So
You're right about that. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, Zach, when I talk faked celebrity deaths, I'm not discounting your work at all, because if they're fake or they're real murders, you still solved it. We just don't know if it's faked or actual murder. But I want you to know I'm never taken away from your work by saying that.
Yeah, sure. All right, you want to get into the next sports game?
We can go sports or coronavirus or whatever.
Whatever you want to get into next.
I would really love to have a piece on the coronavirus. You had lots of great videos in real time when it first started, and I just don't think that gets shared around enough. And
well, part of the reason why is because now, just for saying the word, it seems like you're rolling the dice with getting the whole stream deleted.
That's very true. What word could we use in place of it? Mr. 19 in tribute to the Matrix.
Okay, Mr. 19 it is.
Mr. 19. So, guys, where do I start here? I mean, obviously, we've covered it all a million times, but Cladex and Event 201 were simulations of the pandemic. My first ever question was, wait a minute, how do you simulate something before it happens, and then the media doesn't even cover it conveniently? And Cladex was May 15th, 2018, exactly 666 days on the nose before the pandemic was declared. That's a red flag. And then Event 201, a simulation that could of a pandemic that could kill 65 million people. So when you look at Zach's work, you got to wonder, okay, why did they say 65 million people? Why not 50 million people, And it's real simple. Pandemic equals 65 in Gematria. October 18th, 2019 was Melinda's 65th day of her age. And then conveniently, the Gates once got married on Bill's 65th day of his age. So when you're having simulations of things, and this isn't the first time, it's called predictive programming and mockery. I just wrote a big post on this on my Facebook page today. If anybody wants to scroll down a little further than where Zach is, you can read it all for yourself. So past Event 201, I always tell people, now, why do you think it was called Event 201? There's a million examples of the 201. I believe this is when you pretty much uncovered the 201s and the million more that you've shown since then. But who all hosted Event 201? It was World Health Organization, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Johns Hopkins University, Klaus Schwab, and the World Health Organization. And
only two CDCs, there are CDCs all over the world, but only two participated, the one from China and the one from the US.
Thank you for that. The CDC. So when you look at where Bill Gates is involved with Event 201 as well, let's type his name in the calculator. William Henry Gates equals 201. When I see this stuff in real time, I get it right away. And it confuses me why more people can't catch on. 201 Jesuits were once saved by Catherine the Great in the mid-1600s. So obviously, anyone with critical thinking skills, that's a special number to the Jesuits. It's a special number to Bill Gates. There's a part I skipped. Zach, would you do me a small favor to make this easier? Because there's so much information. Can you put up the post that I have? And it's right at the top of my timeline. That might be it right there.
Yeah.
That way people can read along if I miss anything, or you know what I mean? Oh gosh, you just showed the picture where I wore a mask.
When I zoomed in, it went to it.
Yeah. That's just me mocking them back. I don't wear masks too much. I'm going to lose track of where I was. Let's see. World Health Organization, Sandy, blah, blah, blah. My mind's going blank because I'm on the camera. That's all. Oh, Tom Hanks. That there's more 201 with that. Tom Hanks starred in the movie Inferno about a billionaire advocating for depopulation. So anyone with a brain can realize that when that movie comes out on Bill Gates' birthday, Bill Gates is a billionaire advocating for depopulation. Just like in 2010 on TED Talk, he had his Decade of Vaccine speech called Innovating to Zero. So what's 2010 plus a decade? That's 2020. Excuse me. My throat's a little, yeah, right. The Matrix sent me some herbs to clear my lungs and everything. So I've been on a 3-day dose of that. So excuse me. But yeah, he has a pic on Twitter of a Corona typewriter, which is more mockery. He lets us know that him and his wife's feeling all right. Symptoms are about the same, but they'll get better. And that his wife is leading in gin rummy by 201 points. Why in the world does he have to let us know that he's down 201 points on a post that he's the first celebrity to come down with coronavirus? What are the odds that he's even down 201 points when we're sitting here exposing the number 201 and Mr. 19, every day around March 11th, 2020. And then go ahead.
I was going to say, and then what's interesting is if you start to look at it, every movie he's been in with Steven Spielberg, they code 201. He dies on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year, and Saving Private Ryan. In the movie where he's in the airport stranded at the beginning of the film, Department of Homeland Security is watching him through the security camera, and it's camera number 201. And I'm forgetting the other examples right now, but the 201 thing was actually going on with Tom Hanks through his movie career. And then, yeah, again, I mean, why does he need to write the 200 or winning 201 points? And again, Inferno, about a billionaire depopulating the world, it runs 2 hours and 1 minute, starring him, came out on Bill Gates' birthday, Mr. 201. And again, that movie's about the Illuminati, an order of Illuminati, of course, is 201. So.
Yeah, thanks for filling that stuff in. I've learned all that from you, but I don't always have everything, in the memory bank there. That's awesome, man. Well, it's not awesome, but it's great information to add on. And I've always wanted you to take my links if you ever had time and just edit and add things, and they would be spectacular. But they're just good now, but they'd be spectacular if they ever had every little bit added to them. But I get it. You're a busy guy too, so. And then, what else has happened on Bill Gates' birthday? Elvis took the first vaccine on television on Bill Gates' first birthday. I mean, and guys, what you got to understand when you read between the lines is that when a celebrity does something on TV, the population goes with it and thinks it's okay. So who's to say that on Bill Gates' first birthday back in 1956, that maybe that polio vaccine was good for people back then, but it's such a long ongoing agenda that fast forward to 2020, this one's not. You know what I mean? So there's a million things. Dr. Creep, I mean, that one right there, that's all I need to know. And Jack, you've shown this a few times on your lives. You go to YouTube, you type in Dr. Creep lyrics pandemic, and listen to the song and watch the lyrics. 1 minute into the video, Dr. Creep, who's conveniently not around anymore, which would be another example of my theory of a fake death, because who's going to know who he is on the street? You know what I mean? But the lyrics specifically say 2020 combined with coronavirus, or I'm sorry, Mr. 19. How do you have a song that says that in 2013, Zach?
Exactly, and the lyrics just seem so forced too. So
it's horrible, man, and everybody's just falling for it. And I got Mr. 19. I can't come to work today. And it's like when I was little.
I like how Snopes said it was false. Snopes said, "Did musician Dr. Creep predict the COVID pandemic in a 2013 song?" False. Really? How is it false?
Yeah,
It says 2020. Yeah, I mean, God.
we could prove it. We could prove it right now, but I'm sure you'd get a copyright.
Yeah.
But anybody can go to the YouTube and see that it's not false. So see, we should be able to be like the Facebook police right now and debunk that right there and have them cover up
But
their
Snopes is
phones.
always a joke. This Snopes website is just the biggest joke. They declare so many things false. It's like, how are you declaring that false?
Wow,
So,
man.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm really hoping.
imagine it went viral. Snopes would have a thing: is Gematria legitimate? It would be like false. Gematria is a conspiracy theory purported by cranks. That's what I'd like, write something like that.
That's something else that bothers me, man. I have a lot of people that come over to my house, a few times a week to play poker. And like some of my friends listen to me, but a lot of them are sports fans and they don't want to hear it. And we've had the conversation where I'll respect you and just not bring it up around because I'm that type of person. If you tell me you don't want to hear it, I'll leave it alone. But then some of them will make snarky comments sometimes and be like, "Oh, that made up number system he shows people, and stuff like it. It really makes me want to just kick them right out of the house and don't come back because
Okay,
it's
so
not."
I had to read further ahead on how they declared it false. Oh, I guess Dr. Creep himself came out and said that it wasn't a prediction; it was just a coincidence. But again, that doesn't mean anything either. Let's really find out about this Dr. Creep. What do you really know, Dr. Creep? Sounds awfully weird to say 2020 coronavirus.
And then it happens.
Right.
Now, the thing people aren't understanding is it's predictive programming. And just like the word false flag, if there weren't false flags, the term false flag wouldn't exist. If there wasn't predictive programming, the term predictive programming wouldn't exist, would it?
Right.
It's predictive programming. And like when people tell me that people in my house tell me that it's a made up number system and I'm making it up and it's all not true, it makes me really want to order them out of my house and don't ever come back. Because you can look on Google yourself and see that gematria is real. You can verify all the stuff we show. It's just
the last lyrics on the song. 2020 combined with coronavirus, body stacking.
Yeah, and 7 years prior, just like Kobe's helicopter crash was predicted 7 to 8 years prior.
Just like it's an accident that Sanjay Gupta's in the 2011 movie Contagion saying the same stuff on the makeshift CNN set, exactly what he's saying in 2020 once COVID comes. I mean, all this stuff is a joke.
Did you ever go see that Twitter post about when the guy said Kobe would die in a helicopter crash? Did you ever see that?
Yeah, and then you got the Comedy Central joke and the Kanye joke. And
I don't want to keep you on here forever, and I got to go shopping for birthday dinner tonight too. We getting coronavirus and some sports in there, and everybody knows 9/11. If you don't know 9/11, just get Zach's book or talk to me. I hate it when my mind goes blank, Zach. I even quit smoking weed. Well, I don't trust it anymore. It tastes different. No, it's legal, so I don't trust it. I think it's making everybody congested. Anyway, I forget the point I was about to make, but it's really okay,
Yeah, I think that's a good call to stop smoking weed, especially since your current health state. I think you should do as much as possible to maintain your body. So
I actually, before I quit, would think that's good for people. That's just my opinion, but it's how it tastes and how it smells. To me, since it became legal, and people will say, "Oh, it's just because there's 100 strands now," I don't trust what they're putting in those strands. It just tastes weird and funny. And everybody I know smoking's like all congested up and, getting sick. So I think things like coronavirus is not just put through the air and the water and food, but maybe even the legal weed as well. So
you just never know. That again, you got to ask yourself, why did they finally legalize weed? So
exactly. And now it's all tasting different and funny, and it just smells different to me too. So I don't know. But we got a little bit out, Zach. I appreciate you letting me come on here, and this is a good video. I can show people at my job who ask questions, or other friends, or people in the public, and we could have covered a million more things. Obviously, we could have went for 4 hours, but I mean, just reference Zach's old channels, guys. You type in Zachary K. Hubbard, and you get a lot of this stuff that I bring up from 2016, 2017. You type in Zachary K. Hubbard, there's at least 5-6 channels that are abandoned out there, wouldn't you say?
Well, they didn't last very long. That was in the period of time where I was getting like channel deleted, and the channels that survived had like 2 strikes on them in no time, and that's why none of them have very many videos on it. So I'd just be on to the next channel.
Well, there's enough. I don't know if you ever go look, but there's at least 5 or 6 of you with the black background and the sunglasses. There's a lot. There's enough that people who are new can go there, and it's not just the current news that's important. All that old stuff is important, and I watch some of them myself sometimes to get a refresher. So
yeah, all those were channels that I was on for a very brief period of time that survived, and it's weird that some of them survived because almost everything got deleted. I was like creating a new channel just constantly.
Yep. So, well, the ones that are still there are very valuable. So I just wanted to let you and everyone know that. If you're new and don't understand quite yet, it'll hit you. But Zach's evolved over the years, and those channels from 5 years ago, that there's a lot of 6 or 10 minute videos that people can really listen to and say, "Oh, hey, I remember that. Oh, I remember that." Just go through there.
Indeed, indeed. All right. Well, happy birthday, Rich, and enjoy it.
Yep, we're gonna have a few friends over, have a little dinner, play some poker.
All
Sounds
right.
like a plan. But thanks everybody. And my last thought is to all the people that say, "Why do you always come back when you and Zach argue?" To answer that real quick, and then I'll get off. I've never left anywhere. If me and Zach don't get along, that's fine. It's my duty to keep on showing people the truth until the end, and that's I take this all very serious, and that answers your question. So.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, Rich is the ultimate supporter, Mr. Persistence. So appreciate it, Rich, and do hope you have a great rest of your day, and stay healthy, friend.
Sure will, brother. Thank you.
All right, have a good one, Rich.
Thank you.
Take care, man. All right, guys. I did say my next stream was going to be something else. I'll come back and do that in just a few minutes, since I was planning to do it anyway. But Rich reached out to me and said, "Hey, it's my birthday. I want to do a stream." And I said, "All right." Yeah, I'm sure Rich in the future will continue to drive me nuts, but again, he's down for the cause, so he will also continue to be a part of the movement. And when people have their birthday, you got to be extra nice to them on their birthday. So, all right, guys, maybe you want to go over to Rich's page and give him a happy birthday. And if you guys don't know Rich's story, I mean, he gets out and he pounds pavement with no kidneys. He's on a dialysis machine. And again, he proves that anyone can do it. He's out on the street dragging around the dialysis machine with a megaphone in the other hand. So anyway, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. I'll be back in just a few minutes to tell you the wild, and getting wilder organic side of the code. Till next time.